Look, jokes about being a negative Nancy aside, if you take a quick scroll through my channel, you'll see that most of my videos, well over half, are positive or overwhelmingly positive videos, especially recently, talking about games I love, games that are great, news that is great, and even every once in a while supporting one of these companies that the gaming community so often just lashes. And I want to make something really clear before I start this video. I don't support EA as a publisher. I don't like EA as a publisher. We can make all the jokes about, oh, he's blacklisted and all that stuff, but it's not that. Anybody with eyes can see that this is going back years on my channel. I just think that they are a company that attempts to pay people to make art, but lose the art side of making art. And that comes out as just kind of a greedy rush to make something that will please consumers. And in the end, nobody wins. But what I do think happens a lot, and I don't understand why this shift has occurred much more recently, is mainstream gaming outlets deciding that outrage for outrage's sake is the way to go all the time. And it's getting to a point now where it's actually affecting my content. You know, I feel fatigued sometimes by the amount of mainstream gaming content. By mainstream, I mean things like IGN and Kotaku and Polygon. You know, these places that millions of people go to read things. I get fatigued seeing them kind of, I don't know, confuse things, I guess would be the best word, when it comes to what they think their readers want. And I think that's the big thing with what I'm about to talk about. And I think this is a much bigger deal than even people are talking about. I think that these companies, these IGNs, the Kotakus, and the people that own them, in some cases Fox or whoever it is, they want to cater to an audience instead of just kind of being objective. They want to make something that they think the audience will like instead of kind of making something that's legitimately unbiased. And I think everybody that makes anything is victim to this every once in a while. Oh, my audience wants this, my audience wants that. It's not a good idea. It's the reason that I don't mind making videos about 12-year-old games like The Force Unleashed. But the Star Wars, a franchise that you can probably see I'm a big fan of, especially by my content recently. Jedi: The Fallen Order is something that looks incredibly exciting. It's having all the right things said about it by EA and Respawn. No microtransactions, no multiplayer, single player only, narrative-based game. All of that is awesome. What's not awesome is every single one of these articles bashing the one most obvious thing that they could find to latch onto. And I'm really tired of this. Let me talk about what's going on here. Jedi: The Fallen Order stars a male Jedi. He is a white male. That is who he is. That is how he is being described by people. None of his personality traits, of which we know very little right now, none of who he is matters. What matters, apparently, is that he's a white male. Now, I want to, I don't know, talk a little bit about what that really means. Absolutely nothing. Look, IGN, Kotaku, Polygon, I'm all for diversity. That's wonderful. I'm all for people of color and people of any sexuality being in games. That is great. Things like Apex Legends, for example, half of their roster, or whatever that number is of the LGBTQ community. There's one white male, and he's a downloadable content character, technically. That's all fine. That's all great. I don't care about that. That doesn't matter to me. It's a game without story. This is the problem. These companies don't understand what A, their audience wants, and B, what makes any semblance of sense. These same media outlets, these same companies will do the same thing when Apex Legends rolls around, or do the same thing when the next game rolls around, which is there's not enough attention paid to diversity communities. Cool, awesome, I get it. But every single one of them will say the same thing. We don't want diversity for diversity's sake. I agree, diversity for diversity's sake is always a bad thing. That never works out. The same companies will say, we want a story-based game, where a company takes a character and fleshes them out and builds a story to their vision. But now, because Jedi: The Fallen Order includes a white male, that vision is not good enough. That character needs to be changed. It's disappointing that this character is who he is because of the color of his skin. Now look, I would have been totally happy if Mace Windu was the main character of this game. I would have been totally happy if anybody was the main character of this game. I would have been totally happy if Shaak Ti, deep cut character, was the main character of this game. I just don't care, and I don't think anybody else really does either. I don't know who's clicking on these articles. I don't know who's reading these things. By a show of hands in the comments, how many of you care who this person is from a literal aesthetic perspective. What these companies seem to miss is the one thing they continue to preach, the one thing they continue to pretend is the way things work, the way people work. These companies always advocate for the IGNs, the Kotakus. Every time a controversy pops up, they always advocate for the color of your skin, who you are, your sexuality, your gender does not make you who you are. It does not make you the person that you portray. It does not change your character or what you represent. That's always what they say, and they're right. That's exactly right. The color of my skin or your skin does not make you who you are, does not change anything about you. It certainly doesn't make you any better or worse of a Jedi. And it certainly doesn't make you any more or less capable of being in the Star Wars universe. So why, when it's convenient, do these companies want to come out of the woodworks and create this dramatic narrative that this is a disappointing decision because apparently his skin color and his gender does make him who he is? This character we know nothing about. And I want to talk about this a little bit further. I'm going to not change the topic here, but kind of get into another thing that just happened that I think is just as ridiculous. And I want to talk about two things about this because I want to make sure that people understand that there is a distinction between the writers writing these articles and the companies asking them to. Kotaku recently published a gem of an article by Laura Kate Dale, a gem of an article that claimed that a song in Persona 5, a song that was then available in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate after the Joker DLC launched, which by the way did not go swimmingly, it included a handicap slur. It included a word that I'm not going to use here simply because I don't feel the need to. And this article was published, it was run, and it was abhorrently and factually wrong. I have heard this song a million times. How have I heard this song a million times? Let me tell you two ways. The first off, Persona 5 is my favorite game of all time, as most of you know. But secondly, the theme is the background. The background on my PS4, the theme is the Persona song. So yes, without lyrics, but needless to say, I've heard the song enough in all of its forms. And I assure you that slur is not there, but instead of waiting to publish the article, what Kotaku did was not wait for Atlus or Nintendo's confirmation on what the actual lyrics were. Instead, they published the article anyways, and the backlash was swift. Everybody who's ever played Persona knows that's not what's being said. But quickly, we learned something. This is not the fault of the writer. Well, it is a little bit. The writer heard the words, found it, but wanted to wait to publish the article until she had confirmation from Nintendo and Atlus. Instead, her parent company, Kotaku, forced her to publish the article anyways without that confirmation. She revealed this in a tweet. Now, it's possible she was not telling the truth, but it's important to note that in reality, that is how these companies have historically operated. But what bothered me more than this abhorrent reach for drama, for signaling, for whatever you want to call this, Kotaku left that article up for an entire day in its dramatically wrong state, even after receiving confirmation from Nintendo and Atlus that those are not the words and the word that they were looking at was not included in the song at all. Kotaku left the article up. They blamed back-end problems on the website. I assure you, under no circumstances can an article on a website not be deleted because of back-end issues. Not a chance. Even better yet, they let Laura Kate Dale slide under that bus that they drove right over her. As a result, now I'm not defending her. I know nothing about her beyond this article. I don't know who she is or how often she's done things like this. It doesn't matter. She was still at fault for driving the boat down this path in the first place. But the problem is none of that came to light. They weren't honest about any of that. In fact, they forced her to delete the original tweet that said, hey, I tried to get confirmation, Kotaku would not let me. In their apology, they didn't really apologize for, I don't know, slandering a game, pretending like these things exist, just baiting clicks. Instead, what they did was say, we didn't handle this quite properly. We still think it's possible it's interpreted this way, and fishy enough, Nintendo nor Atlus could tell us what the actual words were, so who knows, it could be there, but just maybe we made a mistake. Instead of coming out and saying, hey, this was wrong, we messed up, we said to publish it, we didn't wait for confirmation, our bad, they continued to insinuate that this was the fault of the song, the slur might still be there, and moved on like nothing happened. This behavior from these large conglomerate media companies proves one thing. It proves why so many people are getting their gaming news and gaming information and reviews from places like YouTube. There are much more options, but more importantly, these people on YouTube, for almost the most part, are genuinely independent. They are objective as much as they can be. They're doing the right thing. Over here, you have people writing articles that are being paid to write articles about things they're told to write about by sponsors that can pull money from them. I remember a story in particular from back in the old IGN days, and I'm not going to say who this was about because I don't want to bring back up drama because I don't want to be involved in any of this, but there was an article that was written by IGN that got funding pulled by a large company. So, the next time that company came around, they wrote a more favorable article, a review, so that funding would not dry up all over again. This is something you see across the board, people, in mainstream media outlets. So here's my suggestion to you. I don't want to tell you what to read or not to read. You should, if you love Kotaku, read Kotaku. If you love Polygon, if you love IGN, continue to do that. But what I do recommend you do is start to see through the facade of this so-called organic objectivity. These are companies. These are no longer people writing these articles. These are people writing articles for people that have motives, for people that have ulterior motives. And that's where these articles are coming from. And sure, I am not at all saying a few bad apples make a bad tree, or whatever that phraseology is. What I am saying is that there's enough corruption in that system that you should be a little bit concerned every once in a while when you read something like this. I know there are probably millions of people that don't frequent YouTube or social media channels where they saw the Persona thing and now think Persona is some terrible franchise, or they saw the Jedi Fallen Order thing and they think this is the prevailing public opinion, and now their opinion is shifting because they're impressionable. But I really want to know what you guys think about all this. I want to know what you think about the Jedi Fallen Order problem. I want to know what you think about the Persona problem, which neither of these are problems, by the way. Neither of them are issues. But I want to know what you think about these companies. Do you still have faith in them? Do you still read at any of them? Do you still consume news or content from any of these places? And there's nothing wrong with that. No shaming in the comments. Don't do that. You know, people enjoy what they enjoy and who they enjoy. So let's have a real conversation about it. You know, I would love to hear what you guys think about these companies down in the comments below. As always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button. If you're not yet a member of this team, press subscribe. We put out gaming analysis and examinations, not really like this, but like other things, twice, sometimes 3 times a week. So hit subscribe so you don't miss any of those. I do want to give you a really quick update. There's going to be, well, you've already probably noticed, less of these kind of newsy style videos coming up. I have a lot of ideas I'm working on for a lot bigger videos. So you'll see those very soon. I am also moving, as I've already mentioned. So you're going to see maybe a shift in the content schedule a tiny bit. I think I probably will only miss one upload throughout this process. But yeah, keep an eye out for that stuff. If the content's a little bit different for these next 2 weeks, that's why I'm kind of undergoing some stuff here with this move. So yeah, as always, if you didn't enjoy this video, I'm sorry. I put out more and more content each and every week. Maybe catch some of that. Maybe you'll enjoy that. But if not, they're giving me and this channel a shot. And until next time, guys, I'm out.